Hello. If I could get your attention for just a minute here before we get started. I'm Anita Villa-Parrish, and I'm the director of the undergraduate program here in the Edward P. Fitz Department of Industrial and Systems Engineering. And I wanted to give you a brief overview of what we'd be doing today in the ceremony, just so that you'd know what to expect, and then we'll welcome our graduates in and we'll get the show started. So hopefully you all grabbed a program. As you can see, we'll introduce you to our faculty and staff that are with us today. We're going to have a commencement address, which is by one of our very special alumni and also faculty members of 30 years, Clarence Smith. And then we'll do the awarding of the diplomas. And I wanted to let you know that the students will come up as they're called by either myself or Dr. Fathi if they're a graduate student, and pause here for a moment. Then they'll be receiving their diploma covers from Dr. Cohen here to my right. So if you want to take a picture, please feel free to do so, but we will also take a picture and they'll be posted all on our website. So just be aware that go on the website after this event and you'll be able to download photos as well. Then following the ceremony, we will have a reception in the reception area of this church. So we hope that all of you can join us and spend at least a few minutes of time to meet all the students that you, I'm sure, have heard from your children there over the last 4 to 5 years that they've been here. You can take more pictures, meet the faculty as well. So we hope that you'll have the time to do so. So at this time, I'd like you to all please stand and welcome the class of fall 2014. Okay, they're all in. You can only see David North if you're in the back corner. And now I'd like to hand it off to our department head, Dr. Paul Cohen, to introduce the faculty and tell you a little bit about the year that we've had.
I'd like to welcome you on behalf of the Edward P. Fitz Department of Industrial and Systems Engineering to our fall 2014 graduation ceremonies. This is really a wonderful day for our graduates, their families, and their friends, and we know that you're justifiably proud of them. And I want you to know that the faculty and staff share in that pride with you. This department is one of the oldest and largest academic departments of its kind in the nation, celebrating over 80 years of excellence, with the first 2 bachelor's degrees awarded in industrial engineering in 1933. The program has been continuously accredited since the beginning of such certifications in 1948. The graduate program was established in 1948, with the first master's degrees awarded in 1950. The doctoral program was established a little bit later in 1967, with the first PhD awarded in 1969 under the supervision of Professor Salah El-Maghrabi, who, although retired, is still an active faculty member with the department. With that introduction, I'd like to introduce our faculty and staff, and I would wait and ask you to hold your applause till the end. So for our faculty, Richard Bernhardt, Brian Denton, Yahya Fathi, Ola Harrison, Tom Hodgson, Julie Ivey, David Kaber, Yanshin Lee, C.S. Nam, Maria Mayorga, Steve Roberts, Clarence Smith, Anita Villa-Parrish, who you have already met, James Wilson, Harvey West, and Richard Wisk. Let me also introduce our staff who play such a large role in events like this, as well as the education that our students receive. Debbie Olgott-Staten, Cecilia Chen, she's in the back, Bill Irwin, Linda Smith, Hakan Sungur, Justin Lancaster up top. He's making sure that we are streaming live around the world. Robert Lassen, our photographer. Linda Smith, Danita Taylor, Michael Walsh, and Dawn Wilkins. And we thank them for all of their contributions. Next, I'd like to mention some noteworthy events that have happened to us over the last year or so. The department continues to grow, and in fact, over the last several years, we have grown by 2.5 times what we were, and if you look at the national rate. So we've grown by 156%, the number of undergraduate students. And in fact, over the last 2 years, we have been the fastest growing department in the entire College of Engineering. Likewise, the graduate program continues to grow, and over the last several years is at 4 times the national average. And to support those students, our research likewise has grown 65% over 7 years, which is a tremendous gain. And our faculty, our students really are on the cutting edge of research issues, not just traditional ones that you would associate with industrial engineering, but we're also, I think, leading the nation into many new and different areas of interest. This has also been a great year for our students. Our student organizations have been extremely active with speakers, with plant tours. And we found that there's been tremendous demand for our students. This fall, to give you an idea, we have a career fair, and there were 133 companies that were here looking for baccalaureate students, 88 for masters and 28 for PhDs, which is more students than we can possibly supply in 1 year. So we have been overwhelmed with jobs, but also outstanding students. If you look in your program, you'll notice that we will graduate this fall 28 students. We will go through a process tomorrow where we admit new students to the department, and we have 58 first choice students that would like to take their place. So that gives you an idea of the growth. And I'm very pleased to see that, because industrial engineering is generally considered a discovery major. Most of the students that come in don't know about us when they come here. Well, I think they've discovered us, and I think they've discovered that industrial engineering is just a tremendous background for so many things that they'd like to do. And I think it's also a tribute to our staff and our faculty, because I think we provide an outstanding educational environment for our students. And that gets reflected to us. In a recent survey that was done of ISE graduates, we were #1 in the entire College of Engineering in terms of student satisfaction. We were #1 in terms of employment, and #1 in employment in the field. Let me tell you a little bit about some of our student accomplishments. More specifically, Eli Ashley, who's a junior in industrial and systems engineering and a member of the women's basketball team, was named the 2014 winner of NC State's prestigious Leader of the Pack Award. She is the first engineering student athlete to be so honored. There was also really a global competition this fall for students in simulation, the Simio Student Simulation Competition. There were 128 teams from 27 universities around the country and around the world from 13 different countries. And NC State was the only university to have 2 teams ranked in the top 8 globally. And I think that tells you something about the students and about the supervision that they receive from Professor Steve Roberts. I should also mention that one of those students is graduating today, and that's Sam Tripp. Didn't mean to embarrass you, Sam. Yeah, there we go. I guess he wasn't embarrassed. Let me tell you a little bit about some of the accomplishments of our faculty also. Professor Robert Young received the first George L. Smith Jr. Globalization Award from the Institute of Industrial Engineers. Professor Rohan Shearwalker was the winner of the Society of Manufacturing Engineers Distinguished Advisor Award. And we had some other awards. Professor Harrison, who I introduced a few minutes ago, won an award for his innovative use of a software called Mimics, which he has used for biomedical design. Dr. Maria Mayorga won the Best Paper Award at the 2014 Industrial and Systems Engineering Research Conference. And Dr. Yanshin Lee likewise had a Best Paper Award of the 2014 North American Manufacturing Research Conference. So again, very accomplished students as well as faculty. With that, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our graduation speaker, but let me explain how this tradition came about in the department. Basically, it is always the latest recipient of the C.A. Anderson Award Outstanding Faculty Award. Professor Anderson served as the department head from 1957 to 1973, and the Anderson Award was established by students and faculty in the department upon his retirement in 1976. Subsequently, Professor Anderson and his wife provided an endowment for the award, and with one exception, the award has been given each year since 1977. The winner is selected by the members of the NC State student chapters of the Institute of Industrial Engineers, Alpha Pi Mu, and the Society of Manufacturing Engineers, and the award is presented each spring of the year at the C.A. Anderson Award Ceremony. The graduation address has been given by the recipient of the C.A. Anderson Award every year since 1993. Although we will break that tradition this semester, our winner from this past year, Professor Russell King, is unable to be with us today. However, we do have a very special speaker, as Dr. Villa-Parrish indicated, Clarence L. Smith, who is a previous Anderson Award winner who retired in 2010, as I recall. So he is a senior lecturer emeritus in the ISE department, and he received his Bachelor of Science degree from NC State in 1969 and his Master of Science degree in 1983. He began his career as a staff industrial engineer with Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company, and he then returned to NC State in 1978 as the inaugural ISE Extension Specialist. And then he joined the department full-time in 1984 as the first ever assistant department head. And it was in this capacity that it was really my pleasure to work with him when I arrived in fall of 2007. And he held that position until retirement in 2010. During his tenure in the department, he advised over 4,000 industrial engineering graduates, or about 80% of all BSIE degree holders since the program started in the 1930s, which is really a remarkable feat. Let me tell you a little bit about some of the awards that he's won. He was recognized with the NC State Outstanding Extension Award in 1984, and he received the C.A. Anderson Award in 1980, and was also named Alumni Association Distinguished Undergraduate Professor in 1985. And he was also named the college's Outstanding Advisor in 1990, 1996, and 2006. And I think if you were to talk to him, this is probably what he got the most pleasure from, is the ability to advise and to mentor our students. He also received the NC State Outstanding Faculty Advising Award in 2005, and in that same year, he became a fellow of the Institute of Industrial Engineers. We were very fortunate to have him here on our faculty for so long, someone of his caliber who clearly cares so deeply about our students and their education. And with that, it's my great pleasure to introduce Clarence L. Smith.
Is this a great day or what? Huh? I mean, think about it. It's a great day. I went back in my calendars and did a little research, and I figured out that I've attended 45 of these graduations. 45. It's the best. I look back, it's probably the best 45 days of my career. It's a wonderful day. Everybody's got a smile on their face. They're a little taller, you know, a little dress. The guys even showered and shaved and cleaned up. For years, we couldn't get them a class on time, but look here, they're early today. So I want to say first and foremost to the graduates, congratulations. Way to go. This is your day. We're all about you. You are surrounded by people who love you and care for you. Enjoy this day. Yeah, and really, if you think about it, as a pool of graduates of this department, there's about 6,000 of us, I think. Yesterday, we didn't have you, and today we do. And you've made our group better. We thank you, we applaud you, we congratulate you. Now, I have to share with you a couple of fundamental beliefs that I have. Real men don't ask for directions. They don't put their names in a hat and do that secret Santa stuff. Never. But I believe that all people, male and female, go through life with one person to whom they are closest. The person that frets over them and cares for them and prays for them and thinks about them more than anybody else, and that's mom. If you're the mother of a graduating student, please stand and let them recognize you. We got some good-looking mamas out there. I think we should make it a requirement. You have to hug the guest speaker or something, you know? Now, dads, you are important too. I remember Archie Bunker told Meathead, you were there when the order was placed. So, dads, we have something for you. We have self-addressed stamped envelopes. For the next 12 months, you go ahead and make out the checks for tuition and fees and all that. Send it directly to the IE department, and we'll take good care of it. Now, I can relate to most of you here today. I am a graduate of the department. My daughter graduated from this department, so I'm a parent. I served on the faculty. I've gone out and picked up the cake and cookies and all that stuff and made the punch. I've been the master of ceremonies for this event for about 16 or 17 years. But I never have been the graduation address speaker. And I'm just tickled to death to be here. Now, I have to tell you a little bit about how this came about. Rusty King, who was supposed to be talking to you guys, came up to me back in November at the homecoming events, and he said, Zeke, that's my nickname, Zeke. He said, I got a problem, I need your help. Now, I've known Rusty for 30 years. I said, Rusty, whatever, you just tell me. He said, well, you know, a couple months ago I got married. I said, I did know that. I know the woman that he married. I said, it's wonderful, congratulations. He said, well, the problem is we can't go on a honeymoon until the semester's over. And he said, I've got 2 tickets for flights leaving Raleigh-Durham on December the 17th, and I'm supposed to give this graduation address on the 18th. I said, well, where are me and the little missus headed off to? That's not exactly how he responded, but I have to tell a story, since I've been on campus forever. I have to tell a story that relates to students. This happened probably in the early 80s. I won't go through all the detail, but basically we were teaching a class called Introduction to Industrial Engineering, sophomore level class. We had 30 students in each section. I had a Monday section. Professor Eric Blair, who's been long gone, had the Thursday section. We took the students on 3 field trips every semester. We loved going to 2 manufacturing plants and then 1 other service sector like a UPS distribution center or whatever. This particular year, we were headed to Westinghouse. Loved going to Westinghouse. They had a little bit of everything. They had stamping and metal forming. They had injection molding. They had assembly. They had packaging. They had quality testing. And they had a whole bunch of our graduates. And they loved having the students. Well, about 2 weeks before we were supposed to go on the trips to Westinghouse, a young man in my section came to me with a letter from the athletic department. He was on the wrestling team. That should have told me something. But anyway, he was on the wrestling team. And they had a meet that Monday night at Wake Forest. It was actually early, like 5 o'clock start time. And he said, I can't go with you on the plant trip. I said, no problem. Well, about that time, Eric Blair, the other instructor, walked by, and the 3 of us got together, and this is what we concluded for him to do. He rode a motorbike, which worked out great because the vans were already filled. And he said, I'm going to ride my bike and I'm going to follow the vans out to Westinghouse. And as soon as it's over, I can just leave. I said, that's great. And everybody had a requirement that they would have to write a paper, a couple of pages, about something they saw, maybe do a literature search on the area, whatever, and just give us some information to show that they paid attention while they were on these trips. It's all good. We got 2 red 15-passenger vans. We're going to meet in front of Reynolds Coliseum, 12:30. On Monday, I take my group to Westinghouse. We have a great trip. Thursday afternoon, I completely forgot that he was going with Dr. Blair's class. And sometime in the afternoon, there's a knock on my door. I said, come in. And in walks this guy with a motorcycle helmet under his arm and backpack on his shoulder. His name was Dave. I said, Dave, how you doing? And then it dawned on me, Dave's supposed to be at Westinghouse. I said, Dave, is there some problem? Yes, sir, there is. I said, what is it, Dave? What's the problem? He said, well, I did everything you told me to do. He said, I rode my motorbike. I went to Reynolds Coliseum, got behind those 2 red vans. I said, Dave, did you have a wreck? Did you get caught for speeding? What's the problem? He kind of stammered, kept looking at his feet. I said, Dave, what's the problem? He said, well, I just took a tour of a pig farm in Clayton, North Carolina. I said, have you considered the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences? He had just followed the wrong vans. The ag school had a trip going that day, and the IE department had a trip going that day. He picked the wrong ones. And then those words that you can just predict. Every faculty member here knows exactly what the next words were. What you gonna do about my grade? And I said, write a paper about pig farming. Graduates, in life, if you don't know where you're going, most any place is as good as any other place, even a pig farm. Now, American journalist George Plimpton gave a graduation address at Harvard in 1977. Which was very brief. It's one of the shortest college graduation commencement addresses ever. He basically told the students to go back to the dorm rooms and unpack and stay on campus. That what was out there was not so good. He later, in an interview with the Boston TV station, said, what I should have said was even shorter than what I said. I should have said, DG, don't go. Graduates, I want to encourage you to DG, do good. I want to tell you a story. It's a story of a man named Al. You might have heard this before. It's one of my favorites. If you have, indulge me for just a moment. Years ago, a guy named Al, while eating breakfast, reading his morning newspaper, got to do something that very few people in life ever get to do. It seems that on the front page of the newspaper in great big type was news of his death. He got to read his own obituary. Yep, some local reporter had written a long article, most of it very personal and not very flattering, about Al and the life he had led. You see, Al had made a lot of money, as a large-scale manufacturer of explosives. He was, in fact, the inventor of dynamite. The newspaper reporter described Al as the one who made it possible to kill and greatly harm more people more quickly and easily than anyone ever. Al immediately realized that that's how he would be remembered at the time of his actual death, and he set about to changing that legacy. Graduates, the people we miss the most after they die are not the rich and famous. They are the people who made other people's lives better. They usually live by that do good motto. Now back to Al. What had actually happened was Al's brother had died the day before. The newspaper reporter simply had it wrong. It was an honest mistake. But did Al change his legacy? You bet Al did. Al was Alfred Nobel, the creator of the Nobel Prizes. Probably the greatest set of international awards that are given each year. For the last 110, 115 years, these awards have gone to people who have made outstanding achievements in medicine, science, peace, economics, and literature. They're awarded to people who have made life better for others. And these awards are how Alfred Nobel is remembered. Graduates, there are many chapters of your lives remaining to be written. But you know, because of your education and training, you, more than anybody else, are uniquely qualified to make lives better. Now, no matter your personal faith, the following words apply. I think they apply to all of us. They happen to be from John Wesley, the founder of the Methodist Church. Do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, at all the places you can, at all the times you can, for all the people you can, as long as ever you can. Graduates, to get to where you are, you have done well. Go and do good. Congratulations.
I have to say, Clarence is a hard act to follow. Thank you, Clarence. My task here today is to introduce our graduates, starting with the graduate students who are receiving their doctoral degrees and master's degrees. I'd like to ask the graduates to please come forward and maybe line up here. I'd like to ask Dr. Lee to please help me in hooding the PhD students. Come forward. Come forward. Before our graduates come here, we all ask everyone to fill a little form in which they write some special thoughts, perhaps the plans after the graduation. And I read from that as I introduce each faculty member, each graduating student. Our first graduating student comes to us from Istanbul, Turkey. As for plans after work, she has already started that. She works as a research investigator in the Value Institute at Christiana Care Health Systems in Newark, Delaware. And under special thoughts, she writes that she would like to, I'd like to thank my parents, Harika and Engin Kapan. Muge Kapan. Dr. Ivy, being her advisor, would like to do the hooding herself, so we thank you for doing that. Thank you. All right. Our next graduate is coming to us from New Hartford, New York. He will be receiving his doctoral degree as well in industrial engineering. Under special thoughts, he writes that he would like to thank his family and friends, as well as the other friends who are here. Congratulations. And the faculty and his staff. Tim Horn. Congratulations. Our next graduate is coming to us from Nanyang, China. Did I say that right? Good. After graduation, or pretty much now, he will be working in the Department of Industrial Engineering at Lamar University, correct? Yui-Ching Lee. Congratulations. Our next graduate also comes to us from China. While here on campus, she was quite active as a member of Phi Kappa Phi Honor Society, as well as the Alpha Pi Mu Honor Society. Plans after school, she writes that keep working in the field of human factors and ergonomics in a research-oriented capacity. Wen-Chi Ma, correct? Thank you. Thank you. Our next graduate comes to us from Tamil Nadu in India. After school, after graduation, I guess now he'll be working as an assistant professor in mechanical and industrial engineering department, Youngstown State University in Youngstown, Ohio. Right? He writes that he would like to thank his parents, his sister Nidia and Sudha Vituri. And of course, the faculty. Guha Manogoharan. Congratulations. Thank you. I must add that all the students indeed write that they express their thanks to faculty members, their advisors, as well as the staff. In order not to be repetitive, I do not read all of them, but indeed they all do so. Our next graduate will be receiving his Master of Industrial Engineering. He comes to us from Hyderabad, India, where he graduated from Birla Institute of Technology in Pilani. Yes. While here on campus, he was quite active as secretary for the American Society for Quality, student representative in the appeals board and the transportation. That's pretty good. Plans after school, he'll be working as a business technology analyst at Deltoid Consulting Firm. Shailene Gadam. Our next graduate comes to us from Bangkok, Thailand. As for plans after school, he writes, I'll be finding a job in mechanical, industrial engineering field in Asia. So planning to go back home, right? I'd like to thank my dad and my mom for all the support they gave me. Let me pronounce this carefully. Sethis Sekornukul. Did I do it right? Congratulations. Thank you. Our next graduate also comes to us from India, from the state of or city of Bangalore. As for plans after school, she writes that start working at Bank of America as a technology associate, correct? And she also writes, I'm grateful to my family and friends who are here with me today. Anupama Subramani. Congratulations. Our next candidate also receives his Master of Industrial Engineering. He comes to us from King, North Carolina. As for plans after school, he writes, accepted a position with Lockheed Martin as an industrial engineer for missiles and fire control in Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas. And he expresses his thanks to his family. Charles Talbert. Next, we introduce the graduates who received their doctoral degrees in operations research. Our first graduate in this group comes to us from Ankara in Turkey. While here, she was quite active as the president of Omega Rho chapter at NCSU, as well as the Informs student chapter at NCSU. As for plans after work, she has already started that, I think, since last January, right? She is working at SAS Institute as a research fellow. and she expresses her thanks to her family. Gokche Aiken Aras. Congratulations. Great. Our next graduate, it's also great to see these people. They've already graduated, they already got the job, now they're coming back to campus. It's good to see you. Our next graduate comes to us from Hangzhou in the state of Zhejiang in China as well. She is already working as a prevention effectiveness fellow at the CDC, I believe in Atlanta, right?
Yes.
Yes. She expresses her thanks. Well, this is what how she writes it. My parents, husband, and my lovely son. Yuanhui Zhang. Congratulations. Indeed, in her case, her advisor also was out of town and just came back to town. Dr. Denton is here with us. We're very happy to have you here back. Next, I'll be introducing recipients of the Master of Operations Research, and our first graduate in this group comes to us from Westchester, Ohio, although she currently lives in Morrisville, North Carolina, right? Very nice. As for plans after school, she writes to continue to work at the GlaxoSmithKline. She already started to work there. She had been working there for several years, and probably that's what postponed graduation for several years, right? Yes, I know. But I'm glad that it's done now. And under special thoughts, she writes, I'd like to thank my family, friends, and coworkers who were there to support me over the past 5 years. Jennifer Tripoli. Congratulations. Our next graduate also receives her Master of Operations Research. She comes to us from Shenzhen in the province of Guangdong in China. As for plans after school, she writes, like to find a job. Well, I know a little more than that. She already has a couple of offers and she's debating which one to take. Should I go to New York or should I not go to New York? That kind of thing. She expresses her thanks to her parents. I know that your mom arrived and she is here. Very good. Pei Shen Zhang. Congratulations. Next, Dr. Villa Parrish will introduce our graduating undergraduates.
All right, are the undergraduates ready? Let me make it clear they never show that level of enthusiasm in my class, but I won't take that as offense. So I'd like to tell you a little bit before we call each of the undergraduates up, a little bit about our program and the impact that these students have had throughout their undergraduate career. And then we'll follow a similar process to the graduate students. So first, I'd like to thank you for lending us your children for the last 4 or 5, maybe I saw an 8 on there, I'm not too sure, years. I've only been here for 4.5, so I can only attest to that period of time. I have 2 children myself, but really, these guys know I make the joke all the time that I've got 315 kids. You know, I look good for 315 kids. I do a lot of running. And today we let almost 30 graduate. There are some that couldn't be here today, but we have about 27 that will come across the stage with us in the fall, and we're very proud of them. We've talked a lot as the director of undergraduate programs. I teach courses that they've all taken, but I also have a advising role in the department, similar to Clarence, where I got a lot of my mentorship and maybe some of the humor, sarcasm, and other such things that the students can blame me for as I call them up and say things about them. So the students have really, they shared a lot about your family, so I look forward to personally meeting a lot of you in the reception. We've talked about their careers, their wanting to travel, their aspirations, classes, grades, breakups, the whole gamut. But we laugh a lot, and I think that the ISE family is something that is very strong, and you'll see with your students as you meet their friends in the reception that we really form a community here. With the smaller department that we have, we're able to do that, where our students really get to know each other. And I'd like to take credit for senior design driving some of that bonding that you have to do as you spend all the late night hours here in the last semester working on your project. But to tell you a little bit more about this class, as you'll see as they come up, we have students from right here in Raleigh, and we have students from Europe, from Spain and from Croatia in our graduating class this year. We have students that have studied abroad in faraway places like Denmark. And we have many teams that this semester worked with companies and made tens of thousands of dollars, even $100,000 in estimated savings. So these students, even as undergraduates, are making already a large impact on our community here in North Carolina. And I know that many of them, they will all be doing the same thing in their careers, whether they've found that job opportunity at this point in time or they're still searching. We have a lot of confidence in the skills that they've built in our program. So with that being said, I'd like to call up Jacob Barger. Congratulations. So Jacob was part of Sigma Phi Epsilon fraternity. As an undergraduate, he was very involved with an internship at Lenovo, some undergraduate research, and he was actually part of the team I mentioned. They're actually the winning team this year from our senior design course at a company called Tyndall Corporation, who offered him a job, and he'll be starting there in Petersburg, Virginia. So we're very proud of him. And I forgot to mention that that Jacob is one of our out-of-state students coming from Williamsburg, Virginia. So next we have Sarah Butts. Sarah's from Wake Forest, North Carolina. She was involved with being a chancellor's aide, which is amazing experience. Relay for Life, many different internships at Alltech and Eaton, and she'll be working at ABB in their Power and Automation Leadership Rotational Program. And her first rotation is going to be located in St. Louis, Missouri. Next, we have Wyatt Campbell. Wyatt is from Aberdeen, New Jersey. He actually graduated in the second summer session and came back to walk and participate in the ceremony today. As an undergraduate, he was a community assistant for university housing. He did his senior design project, which was very successful at L'Equipe International, and he's moved back to the Northeast to pursue a job in industrial engineering. Next, we have Elaine Chavis. Elaine is from very far away, Raleigh, North Carolina. She also is a summer graduate, so she already has begun her career as well. But while an undergraduate, she was part of the Mu Omicron chapter of Delta Sigma Theta sorority. She was a co-founder and president of an organization called Reach Out and Touch. And now she's been working as a supplier quality engineer at Eaton Corporation in Beaver, Pennsylvania. Congratulations. Next, we have Matthew Corgan. Matthew's from Charlotte, North Carolina. I had to give him a hard time in line because he left me blank space on my paper, which I knew he had something entertaining to share with you all, so we'll share that. And I didn't have to make it up. So one of the traditions we've had over the last couple of years has actually been the senior class doing senior superlatives. And they're a lot of fun, and they're very different from what you might have thought about maybe from a high school superlative perspective. But Matt's superlative was biggest sports fan because his attire consisted entirely of sport, insignia clad outfits, which I could attest to in senior design, but I didn't know he had that award, or I could have picked on him. He did his senior design with EMC, which is here in Apex, and he's actually moving to Atlanta, Georgia to work for a small company called Qgenda. Congratulations. Next, we have Jasmine Davis. Jasmine's from Laurinburg, North Carolina. She was also a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority, a co-founder of Reach Out and Touch. She's been working as a process improvement engineer for the Division of Motor Vehicles, where she'll continue now after graduation while applying for graduate school back at NC State for next fall. So we hope to see her some more. Congratulations. Okay, next we have Obi Eruchalu. Obi is from Charlotte, North Carolina. He's an example of one of the students that does a lot of things. You guys wouldn't believe what some of the resumes look like these days. But Obi was part of the University Honors Program as a scholar. He was also part of WKNC 88.1, which is the local college radio. We actually have 2 graduates today that were part of the radio station. He was working at Morgan Stanley throughout the last summer, and he hopes to pursue a career in investment banking and finance. Let us know. Next, we have James Green. James is from Cary, North Carolina. He had many past internship experiences at chemical and automotive industry, and he's currently seeking an entry-level job, still focusing in industrial engineering. So we wish him the best of luck. Good luck. Next, we have Josh Hanks. Josh is from Charlotte, North Carolina. He played intramural flag football. He was part of the NC State crew organization. He co-opted for a year at BMW, which we've had a good student presence as at the undergraduate level. And he'll be starting full-time as a consultant for Manhattan Associates, which is located in Atlanta, Georgia. Congratulations. I forgot maybe the most interesting thing about Josh was that I learned, which he ran the Krispy Kreme challenge 3 times. I always learn something new that I didn't know about the students in this process, which I enjoy. Next, we have Kiara Harper. She might have a few people here. Kiara is from Petersburg, Virginia. She's the president of the organization, which you've already heard me mention, Reach Out and Touch, Delta Sigma Theta sorority. And she's currently in the job hunting and interviewing process, so we know she'll find something soon. Okay, next we have Lindsay Jones. I really wish my entrance into the classroom would be like that. You know, can we pass that down to the next class of people? That would get me pumped up. Okay, Lindsay's from Clayton, North Carolina. She was an active member of the Institute of Industrial Engineers, Zeta Tau Alpha sorority. She also did a co-op with BMW and will also, similar to Josh, be going as a consultant at Manhattan Associates in Atlanta, Georgia. Next, we have Daniel Kim. Daniel is from Charlotte, North Carolina. He was part of Pi Alpha Phi. He worked for Accenture, which actually was perfect for him because it landed him his consulting role at Accenture in Los Angeles, California, where he'll be moving. Congratulations. Good luck with your move. Next, we have Peter Lynn. Peter is from Morrisville, North Carolina, and he has an extensive experience in many different bands, so I'll name them for you all. So you know, he's extremely busy, and most students, I believe, don't actually do it for all 4 years, right? Because of the level of time commitment that these endeavors take. So he was part of the NC State Marching Band, NC State Pep Band, NC State Wind Ensemble, and the Raleigh Civic Symphony. So it takes a tremendous amount of dedication. He had various internships throughout the summertime, and he's currently pursuing a few opportunities in industrial engineering roles. So, good luck. Let us know how it goes. Next, we have Brian Lindbergh. Brian is from Greensboro, North Carolina. He was an inter-residence hall council, part of Society of Manufacturing Engineers, another student organization of ours. He co-opted at Shaw Industries, and he's going to start as an engineer at a company called Ecolab in January. Greensboro, right? Yeah. Thank you. Next, we have Amir Malak. Amir is from Split, Croatia. He was involved in a lot of different activities on campus, like intramural soccer, but most notably for our department, he was part of undergraduate research team in our Center for Additive Manufacturing and Logistics, which was a great experience I know that he had within the department. And it's actually inspired him to try to find a role specifically in that additive manufacturing, which you may more know so as 3D printing, that we have a lot of activities in the department that the students can take advantage of. So good luck. We asked the students how many all-nighters they had taken, and I love he had the most humorous response. It said, "Wait, we were supposed to keep count?" Next, we have Isaac Miller. Isaac is from Greensboro, North Carolina. He was part of the Wolfpack Motorcycle Club, active with WKNC. He was an intern for the Industrial Extension Service, which is a consulting arm that NC State has for regional companies. And his plans after school are to find a role in a quality, either a quality control or inventory management position. Next, we have David North, resident tall guy. He's from Mooresville, North Carolina. He was part of Pi Kappa Phi Institute of Industrial Engineers. He also took advantage of being able to work with the Industrial Extension Service, which I just mentioned, doing some project-based work. And he did his senior design project with EMC here in Apex as well. And he's still deciding on various job opportunities. So good luck, David. Next, we have Vivek Patel. He's from Queens, New York. He is an extensive Reddit guy. So for those of you who know what that means, for those of you that don't, you can Google it later, but social media type of thing. He was also involved with Engineers Without Borders, which has led him to apply for the Peace Corps. So he'll be waiting on the results of that application. Next, we have Alyssa Pearson. Alyssa is from Cherryville, North Carolina. She worked at John Deere in the supply management group, and she's joining the cohort of students moving to Atlanta, but not for the same company, for Anheuser-Busch as a group manager. Okay, next we have Ivan Sanchez Gomez. He's from Madrid, Spain. And I joked around with him that I could have done this in Spanish, but since I didn't write up my speech, but bienvenido a sus padres y su abuela que vinieron hoy. That I can say off the cuff. Ivan was a tennis player for NC State on the varsity team. So I know that all of you can just imagine the time commitment that takes while doing an engineering degree. But that meant he got to stay an extra semester and while he was not playing on the team. So that made things a little bit smoother. He also worked for the Industrial Extension Service, and he was on the Tyndall team, which won the best project award this year. So he's hoping to find a job that will allow him to stay here in the US and then eventually go to graduate school. I'll talk to your parents after. Next, we have Brett Thompson. Brett is from Rutherfordton, North Carolina. He worked at Sumitomo Electric Lightwave in Research Triangle Park, and he'll be going to work as an associate engineer at Baldor. You're so far away. Next, we have Sam Tripp. Now, if I embarrass him, it was probably intentional coming up. No. Come closer. Dr. Cohen may have not embarrassed you on purpose, but right. So Sam, as you could tell by the number of students that cheered for him, I really view Sam as one of the pivotal glue type of people. If you are a glue, you are that person that will keep all of the friends who go to various places still getting together. And he was friends with many of the students that graduated in the spring. And I've been able to see how that group has still stayed together over time. So I know that's something I really admire about Sam. But while he was here on campus, he was also the president of the Student Veterans Association, as well as held various other roles with the Student Veteran Association over the last several years. He was also the captain of the ISE intramural soccer team. Didn't know we had one, did you? I don't know how good we were. Last year, I think, was dicey, but he was also a research fellow in the Advanced Self-Powered System of Integrated Sensors and Technologies here on campus, and he's currently seeking job opportunities, but in the meantime, planning some other various endeavors. Come closer. Didn't want to go from so far. Next, we have Dexter Trustclair. Dexter is from Raleigh, North Carolina. He worked as an intern at Alltech Industries. He also had various jobs on campus through the Engineering Online Office and the NC State Faculty Development Office. And he's going to be working for Eaton Corporation in their Leadership Development Program, Operations Program for Engineers. Congratulations. Anytime. Next, we have Daniel Turbe. Daniel is from St. Thomas in the U.S. Virgin Islands. While here at NC State, he was active member of Institute of Industrial Engineers. He was the vice president of the Caribbean Student Association, part of the Wolfpack Club, and he actually has a few offers as of today, so he's still trying to make a decision as to which one he'll take. Congratulations. Thank you. Next, we have Mark Vernon. Mark is from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and the very unique thing about Mark is that he was basically been working full-time at Siemens while getting his degree, which required him to drive basically to Winston-Salem and back to classes. And I think we could all appreciate the amount of effort that took to get to where he is today, graduating. So he'll continue on at Siemens Energy in Rural Hall, North Carolina, as a manufacturing industrial engineer. Next, we have Jamie Yanayan. Jamie is also from Raleigh, North Carolina. She's the president of the Society of Women Engineers. She was the editor-in-chief of the Journal of Reflective Inquiry, which was a journal started here at NC State campus. She was a DJ at 88.1. She's also graduating with the healthcare certificate, which is a program we have in our department, and typically the graduates are finishing in the springtime, but Jamie studied abroad in Denmark, so it pushed her out this semester. But she'll be biking with Habitat's Bike and Build program over the summer, and then starting at Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Lab in the fall. Next, we have Amy Yee. Amy lists her hometown as Worcester, Massachusetts. I'm glad I already knew how to say that city. She's part of the Industrial Engineering Society here in our department. She is also dog mom to 11 puppies who are so cute. I've seen their pictures, and I'm glad they all have homes so that I don't get tempted to get one myself. Amy was part of a senior design team at a company here in Smithfield called Flanders, who's since hired her. So she's already started working there this week, no break. And so we wish her the best of luck there. Thank you. Let's give them all another round of applause. So this concludes our program for today. If we could have all the undergraduates, though, at the end come up here and we'll take a class photo. And whenever you all are finished here, make sure to take all of your belongings, check under the pews, please, before you head to the reception hall. We look forward to meeting you there. Congratulations.
I told him. We shouldn't have to worry. We should be able to do this a little quicker. Come on forward a little bit. Yeah. Bring a front row. And we really got to pack it in, guys. All right. Are you all ready? Yeah, have front row. Come down. Get the stands. You got to get the stands. Everybody stack them up. Oh, no. Good. All right, I'm just a little bit. Is it? I'll take a bunch. Don't worry. Right. Is this how Kanye feels? Oh my gosh, no more pictures, paparazzi. Oh my goodness. So this is how it feels. Awesome. There we go. All right, are we done? No? Okay, a couple more. So one more.
Somebody fell. Can we tell you a funny picture now? Oh, listen. My legs hurt. I don't say my back kind of hurt. My legs hurt. 2, 4, 2. Hey. All right, y'all ready? Yeah. All right. No more press. No more paparazzi.
All right, whoever needs their certificate, let me get rid of it. Leave the
Ooh.
Oh, how could you do that? Probably. It was still early. I don't know. We might take a minute.
Are we done doing?